Chapter 1. A Pink Solvent for a Gray World. "It's not drugs, Your Honor," Caddy said, licking the last trace of lipstick from the corner of her mouth as she absent-mindedly twirled a strand of faded, bleach-damaged hair around her finger. "Distilled water, a drop of vanilla extract, and red 40 food coloring. My customers thought it was an elixir of happiness. And you know what? They felt better. You sell hope during elections. I sold it in the alley behind the bar. So which one of us is the real con artist?" Judge Grayson didn't even bother adjusting his glasses. He studied the lab report in front of him, absently tapping a cheap ballpoint pen against the desk. The hollow crack of plastic drilled into her ears. "9 of your customers suffered liver failure, Miss Stewart. One of them tried to dig a hole through asphalt with a kitchen knife. You were bottling industrial solvent. At least it was free of artificial additives," Caddy muttered under her breath before forcing herself to smirk. Defiance was the only armor she had left. 6 months at Saint Jude's, the judge said, signing the order with a broad stroke without looking at her. "Dr. Miller's institution specializes in emotional cleansing. Tell him you're his worst patient." The clinic didn't greet newcomers with bars or locked gates. It welcomed them with the smell of bleach mixed with cheap lavender air freshener and a silence so thick it felt as though every ounce of oxygen had been drained from the air. In the lobby, an orderly named Bob sat on a worn leather couch. His knuckles were swollen and scarred, his eyes the dull color of overcooked meat, and he had the unsettling habit of chewing mint gum without stopping, each wet smack echoing through the room. "Weapons, blades, glass vials." Bob held out a rough, calloused hand. "And the lipstick, too." "The lipstick? Seriously?" Caddy hugged her bag against her chest. "What exactly did Wild Poppy ever do to you?" "The girls use it to write all kinds of crap on the windows." Without so much as glancing at her, Bob took the bag and tossed a neatly folded white brushed cotton pajama set onto the counter. "Room 6. Dr. Miller doesn't like his patients smelling like the streets." That evening, Bob returned carrying a small plastic medication cup. Inside rested a large blue and white capsule. "Time for your happiness dose. The doctor says chemical imbalance is just your cells being stupid." Caddy slipped the capsule into her mouth, mimed a deep swallow, then carefully tucked it beneath her tongue with a practiced movement. Years of dodging police raids had made the trick second nature. "Has Dr. Miller ever tried just having sex and drinking bourbon?" she asked, wiping her lip with her sleeve. Bob didn't even blink. He simply stared back at her with an empty, perfectly polished smile. "We don't drink at St. Jude's, Caddy. We recover." After the orderly left, Caddy spat the capsule into her palm. The blue shell had begun to dissolve, exposing tiny pink granules inside. They smelled faintly of synthetic cinnamon, exactly like the homemade solvent she used to cook up in her garage. "The funniest thing about the human mind," she thought, "is that it will pay any price for the privilege of feeling nothing." Caddy raised the capsule toward the harsh fluorescent light. Then she froze. Why did the official medication from a state psychiatric facility look exactly like the concoction she used to sell on the street?